All right, it is time for AT Tech number 1 for positive behavior. So here I am, a high school teacher, right? And I'm looking at a lot of these AT Techs on the market, and I'm thinking to myself, I would get laughed out of my classroom if I used the majority of these. Now, I'm pretty sure it's because the majority of these are designed for elementary school students. And I think a lot of people assume that in elementary school is where you learn how to act, and that students should know how to act by the time they get to high school. The unfortunate thing is that not all high schoolers know how to act, right? And my vice principals can show you that with their data. I am lucky enough to be supported by a great administration that's super supportive. So I'm thinking along the lines of, okay, what positive things can I do? We do have, PBIS in our school where we lay out, clear expectations, and we've got Donegal dollars as a positive reward. And for the majority, I think building positive relationships with your kids is the way to mitigate bad behaviors. So that's why Dovetail in particular really caught my attention. Social emotional learning is something that my district is very aware of, that we've discussed in the past, that it's important to teach our kids this for some reason or another. I don't know why. There's definitely a set of students that are coming into high school that do not have social emotional learning skills. So it's important that we teach this to our kids. So I did watch the intro video by the executive director, Dr. Chuck Fisher. He was extremely engaging in his introductory video where he talked about resilience. How do we make sure that our students are resilient, that we are resilient? And he outlined the philosophy a little bit. He outlined a little bit of the philosophy of Dovetail, and he went over, how do we improve our resiliency using protective patterns, centering myself, connecting with others, and collaborating together. So all of the resources that they offer on social emotional learning in this way are completely free, which goes along with their mission, which is pretty cool. And they basically offer pamphlets, questions that you can ask yourself, questions you can ask your students. And this isn't just for educators, right? Any staff could implement this as well into, anywhere where you're trying to build better relationships. It's just a good platform for learning a little bit more about where you are socially and emotionally. So I do think it is a good idea to have these conversations with your students. And I think it would only really help build a better rapport with your students that you already have. I do think you would have to do a bit of research, and it's nice that the pamphlets are kind of made for you. Implementing them into a classroom, I don't think it would be that difficult, but you would have to put some thought into it, right? How am I going to do this? How would this be appropriate for the age group that I teach? When am I going to do this? I do think building relationships with your students is our number one priority right now as teachers. So I don't think there's anything wrong with putting aside the time to have these kinds of conversations with our students. But I think it's, it would benefit my classroom to have those conversations, to talk to students about how they are or where they're at in some of those areas, and then share my own personal experiences, right? Because that builds a rapport. So not only does it show that I care about their social and emotional well-being, but it also opens them up to the possibility of learning about themselves and improving themselves, right? So that when we are having, a misbehavior, I can redirect the conversation to what did we talk about, right? What do you revert to sometimes when you feel attacked or defended, and how can we change that in this moment right now? So I think it would be a really positive thing to add to any classroom, and it's free. So costs you absolutely nothing. So I would highly, highly recommend just looking into the resources that Dovetail Learning has to offer.